Welcome back everybody to our studies in financial markets. This lesson is going to continue talking about some of the more introductory elements, so without getting into the kind of very niche specific technicalities of financial markets, which is of course something we're going to be doing in future lessons. This video specifically is going to talk about the historical development of financial markets. There's all of these different things that we can talk about in relation to financial markets. We can think about the ways in which they operate, the distinctions of each of these different markets, equity markets, derivative markets, money markets, exchange rates, and all these different kinds of things. But we often don't spend that much time focusing on the history and the historical development of these different kinds of markets. And that's what I want to do in this lesson very briefly. Again, this is something that should provide you with a basic foundation, a basic overview, rather than necessarily going into it in any particular specific detail. So, like I said, this next lesson is going to spend some time looking at the process by which financial markets come to be what they are. And we will also think about in the next lesson some of the more basic ideas relating to the functions of financial markets. So what the purposes of the markets are, what are the kind of markets we're going to be spending some time examining, and then we will dive headfirst into the first of our major sort of collection of financial markets, which are of course exchange markets. That's the first one that we're going to deal with. And then we will do equity markets, money markets, bonds, derivatives, etc., etc., etc. So from a historical perspective then, the concept of the financial market actually arguably predates the ordinary economic management system that we have. Because in order to ensure that there was enough food after a bad harvest, for example, during the ancient world and in the medieval period, farmers in the beginnings of the agricultural revolution would trade on seed in order to ensure that there was enough food and therefore no starvation. So it developed almost out of a necessity to be able to not die of starvation where there were bad harvests. And the result of this is that individuals who had a surplus of seeds would be able to trade with those seeds, and so the result of which would be that credit would be obtained on that surplus, and that the credit on that surplus would result in greater benefits there. The earliest example that we can see here is this idea of trading in seeds and agricultural development, and it is this particular trade right here that is arguably the earliest example of a financial market. Not trading in financial instruments like equities or debts or exchange rates, or in terms of money itself, but it is more so the trading in particular goods, the trading in seeds, which were obviously something of quite high and significant value at the time at which the most important thing to concern ourselves with is that of agriculture and making sure that people have enough food. Jumping forward then a few hundred years, in fact probably 1,000 years or so, we can see the earliest examples of the idea of a financial market that we would look at today and think, well, that's what a financial market is, how we understand a financial market to look. These were markets that existed during the Venetian Empire. The development of the stock exchange came from merchants in the 1300s, and Venetian merchants specifically. These merchants would act not too dissimilar to that of people who are considered to be brokers and moneylenders today in relation to modern financial markets. They would travel with information on what was for sale, essentially. Lenders would then seek to unload their debt obligations off onto others. This, of course, is to avoid high risk and high interest loans, and this really is the example here, beginning in and around the 1300s, of a financial market that we would understand and look at and think, well, that looks like what the kind of financial markets that we see today. Of course, it's not as sophisticated. We don't have the sort of technological improvements. You don't have the kind of online trades and instant trading that takes place on stock exchanges today. But at least at the time, the basic framework, the basic ideas of the financial markets existed as early at least as the 1300s. Now, In terms of stock exchanges specifically, of course, the stock exchange and the stock market is just one of many different financial markets trading various different financial instruments. But arguably, the first time this existed, the introduction of the stock exchange, was probably in around 1531 in Antwerp, Belgium. In Antwerp, there would be moneylenders from across all of Belgium who would do business and make decisions on a variety of different debts. And then at this time, there were no stocks to be traded because of the fact that the idea of the corporation, the idea of the company, didn't really exist at this point either. The brokers in this period would almost exclusively deal with the trading of bonds, okay? We'll get to what bonds are in future lessons time and examining what how they work and what they look like. But fundamentally then, because of course there was no equity in the sense that there was no corporation, there was no company or private business in that regard, they would be often the exclusively dealing with and trading of bonds. But this was still nevertheless a stock exchange. It was a stock exchange that existed in a similar way to stock exchanges that exist today. And so it is from here that I'm just going to do another quite major jump and go to looking at the development of the stock exchange as we know it today, the modern stock exchange. Now, modern stock exchange that we would be the modern stock exchange that we would be more familiar with today were developed in and around the late 1700s. So the first stock exchange to be established in, for example, London was established in 1773. So quite a major jump from Antwerp and from Belgium, but the modern stock exchange as we know of it today. A few years later, about 20 or so years later, the first stock exchange in New York was created in 1792. And so while this first stock exchange was the first to be opened, while the first stock exchange to be opened was actually opened in Philadelphia, the first one to be opened in the United States, it was New York that very quickly developed into that economic powerhouse of the financial world in the United States. So technically, the first stock exchange to be opened up in New York was in 1792, but the first stock exchange to be opened in the United States was actually a little bit before 1792, and that was in Philadelphia. But Philadelphia would not become the kind of central feature of the U.S. financial system. Philadelphia being in Pennsylvania, the state, and obviously New York being in the New York state. But it was New York and the New York Stock Exchange that became the central focal point for the economy, for the economic powerhouse that would be the financial world of the United States. The real change happened when we see the introduction of the NASDAQ. Okay, when this was established, the New York Stock Exchange would start to really have real competition domestically. So from the sort of 1792 all the way to the creation of the NASDAQ, it was the New York Stock Exchange that had basically the front and center in terms of financial focus and as a financial focal point for and in the United States. And so the NASDAQ, or correctly described and defined as the National Association of Securities Dealers Automated Quotations, abbreviated to NASDAQ. This was established in 1971, and it was established by the National Association of Securities Dealers, now the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. While traditional stock exchanges had a physical presence, so the New York Stock Exchange or the London Stock Exchange, they would have a sort of physicality attached to them. You'd have to go to the stock exchange itself. You'd go to Wall Street, for example, and you'd go and you do trades. The NASDAQ, okay, is a network of computers rather than a specific institution, a specific place. And it is this network of computers that are able to make trades electronically. And you can see, and you can probably imagine, just how impactful this 1971 reform to financial markets was. It meant that no longer do you have to go to New York or to London or to wherever to go to a stock exchange to actually trade in equities or debts or whatever. Now, what you can do is you can do so electronically, making trades electronically. And it's even got to the point now where you can make trades on financial markets on your phone, okay? If you get a Vanguard account or if you're in the UK, an eToro subscription, you will find yourself in a situation where you are able to make trades. You are able to put money into the financial system, into the stock exchange, into the stock market, and you are able to make trades on equities, you're able to make trades on debts and bonds, you're able to make trades on valuable goods like gold or iron, you're able to make trades on indices on index funds, which are sort of aggregate collections of corporations, so the S&P 500, for example. All of these things, of course, make it even easier for not just professional people to engage with the stock market and to engage with financial markets more broadly, but specifically for everyday individuals to start to engage with the financial markets as well.